If you move your production to Mexico, I will impose a 200% tariff on everything you want to sell in the United States. It was with this explosive threat, coming from Donald Trump, that an unexpected war began between the former president and one of America's most traditional companies, John Deere. Yes, you heard that right, the green and yellow tractor brand, a symbol of American farming, is now at the center of a clash with one of the most controversial politicians of the century. And it's not just about machinery or tariffs, it's about the future of American agriculture, jobs, national pride, and perhaps even the economic soul of the United States. But how did John Deere, a near-sacred name in the heart of rural America, become the direct target of Donald Trump's fury? The answer begins with a strategic decision, or better yet, a corporate earthquake, that shook the very foundations of a company with a centuries-old history. In recent years, John Deere faced a silent dilemma: how to keep growing in a globalized, highly competitive market under increasing environmental, labor, and technological pressure. The company's response was clear: international expansion. And not just any expansion, but a decentralization of its American production, moving part of it abroad, mainly to Mexico, Asia, and South America. At first glance, it seemed like a typical business move: cut costs, increase global presence, and gain access to emerging markets like India, Brazil, and Africa. But for Trump, it wasn't just a business decision, it was betrayal, a direct affront to his political banner. After all, Donald Trump built his base on the promise to bring manufacturing back to the United States, to make America great again. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a pledge to the working class of the Rust Belt, to farmers, to rural America, which had been watching its factories close and jobs disappear for decades. So when John Deere, a jewel in the crown of American agriculture, decided to cross the border, Trump took it as a personal blow. And maybe it was. At packed rallies, Trump wasted no time. He called the company disloyal, accused its executives of putting profits above the country, and dropped his rhetorical bomb: a 200% tariff on any John Deere equipment made outside of America. Let's pause here and think for a moment: what would the consequences of such a tariff be? We're talking sky-high prices. Tractors that already cost a fortune would become unaffordable for many farmers. And John Deere itself, which depends on global exports and supply chains, could see its profits evaporate. So why did the company go down this path? The answer lies in something few like to admit: the global economy doesn't wait for ideology. Profit margins are shrinking, operating costs in the U.S. are rising, and the demands for innovation, sustainability, and international competitiveness are growing every year. For John Deere, expanding overseas wasn't an act of rebellion, it was a matter of survival. But the narrative isn't so simple. While executives look at spreadsheets and forecasts, thousands of farmers see something else: a symbol of lost trust, a broken promise. And here lies the true conflict of this story: who's right? The entrepreneur thinking about the brand's longevity and its investors, or the politician who sees himself as the protector of American jobs and industrial sovereignty? The answer isn't binary, but the damage has already been done. Social media exploded. Trump's supporters began calling for a boycott of John Deere. Videos of farmers painting their tractors different colors or pledging loyalty to rival brands went viral. On farming forums, the question was clear: do you still trust John Deere? Meanwhile, company executives remained silent. Until finally, John Deere spoke: "I wouldn't back down." It was official. The conflict had begun. But let's go back to the heart of this story. John Deere isn't just a brand. It's woven into rural American culture, part of childhood memories, of dawn harvests, of generations raised with the roar of an engine as their music. Trump, on the other hand, is a figure who evokes intense emotions among his supporters. He is the last bastion against the decay of American industry. To his critics, he's a populist who exploits fear and nostalgia. And this is where the story gains depth. We're not just talking about economics or politics, we're talking about identity. When John Deere decides to open factories outside the US, is it simply reacting to legitimate economic pressures, or as critics say, abandoning its commitment to America. And Trump, by threatening tariffs, is he truly protecting jobs, or igniting an ideological war that could cost everyone? While these questions hang in the air, one thing is certain: America's heartland is divided. And for the first time in a long while, farmers who once trusted both the brand and the president are being forced to choose a side: tradition versus transformation, loyalty versus market logic. And in the middle of it all lies the future not just of John Deere, but of an entire industry, an entire way of life. Can the company preserve its American soul while manufacturing abroad? Can Trump bend a corporate giant to political will? And most importantly, who's really going to pay the price in the end? Because when tractors become more expensive, it's not just the company that suffers, it's the small and mid-sized producers, it's the cost of food on the table. Agriculture is the backbone of entire communities. This is just the beginning of a story that could redefine how we understand big business, power, political leadership, and the fragile balance between patriotism and globalization. John Deere isn't just challenging a former president. It is poised to become a national symbol in a world where economic borders are growing ever more blurred. And what happens in the next chapters of this war may decide the fate of the agricultural era itself.